Welcome, everybody, to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
It's my goal to feed 1 billion people before I die.
We want to bring awareness around the issue of hunger and food insecurity.
7 to 8 million people served so far. With the sole goal of eradicating world hunger by connecting sources of food to recipients in need. Fiorenza's Food for Friends.
Hello. Derek Fiorenza here with
Brenda Russell
on the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. And today we have a very, very special guest. It's part of our Chartwell Cares segment. We're doing a special series right now with Chartwell Law. And we're with Victoria Godwin-Reese. Victoria, welcome to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So we're very excited because this is our second year now working with Chartwell. And as we are looking to expand upon the partnership, we've really gotten a great chance to learn about Chartwell, the culture, the community, that notion Chartwell Cares, what that means. It's actually visible. It's in action. It's tangible, Bren.
It is.
And we're actually able to be part of it, which is so cool. We've worked
Happy
with
to help.
Yes, we've worked with Chartwell across the country, partnering their offices. I'll pull up for those that are following on the video. We partnered with their offices across the country, Bren, and we're linking them up to local food pantries.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
It is wonderful.
it's wonderful. As a matter of fact, we're doing it in 42 different locations for Chartwell.
Amazing.
A lot of new locations for us too. Last year, presented a lot of new places that we had not helped Chartwell support their local communities. So took us up into the western part of the country with Washington and Oregon, and I think there's a place called Vancouver, Washington, as a matter of fact.
There is a place called
Yes.
Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah.
And you're doing good. You're trying to avoid those tongue twister tires. You're just twisting and twisting.
I am twisting. Twisted.
You're amazing. You know that?
Twisted sister. Yeah.
Victoria, we learned this yesterday. Oh, you came out of the focus. Should we keep doing the phase thing? We would be great for the movies. Yeah.
Phase in and
Phasing in and phasing out. Victoria, I was talking to Ryan earlier. We had an episode with Ryan, and he was explaining to us that you have offices across the country, but then you have what's called admitted states. I guess places you can practice. It's most of the country.
Yes, yeah, I think we are admitted in 40 or close to 40 of the 50 states, or maybe by the end of the year or next year we'll be there. And then we do have offices. You're showing a map right now. The red dots are offices. And then the blue are the states that we can actually practice in. Since COVID, a lot of practice is online. Judges don't want us spending 2 hours in traffic, paying $20 to park for a 5-minute hearing. It's more efficient for our clients and for the judicial system just to do a lot of things over Zoom. And then the more complicated issues, evidentiary hearings and trials and things of that nature, we go into the courthouse and we do what we need to do there. So it's allowed us to expand our business and to help more of our clients and outreach to the people that need us.
It's awesome. And I would think that'd be so much more convenient doing things via Zoom. That was one of the benefits, don't you think, Victoria? They came out of COVID that we were able to kind of be a little bit more efficient with our time.
I completely agree, at least in our industry. Chartwell actually utilized the virtual office, if you will, before COVID. So when COVID hit, we had very limited, if any, disruption to our business flow. We were able to continue to help our clients and our communities because Chartwell, since day one, I'm not a founder, but you hear the founding stories on your interviews. Since day one, Chartwell has been about its community and its clients.
It's amazing. And before we get into you personally, I just want to wrap up with this map.
Yes.
What I can see, it looks like you have more office locations in Florida than in any other state. Is that accurate or pretty close?
That is accurate, and I'll tell a little tale. So
Okay.
we had an attorney retreat back in 2023, and we were doing trivia, and that was one of the questions. What is the state with the most offices? I raised my hand, I was selected, I was like, it's Florida, and they told me I was wrong.
Oh,
No.
And I challenged them, and I counted off all 7 of our offices.
wow.
And so they gave me the prize, and I became the official trivia master, if you will, of that retreat for that session.
Victoria, what state's closest? New Jersey?
I I think like the Pennsylvania at the time
Pennsylvania.
was, but it
Okay.
looks like Jersey may.
Yeah.
So I think that map's maybe a little deceptive. We have
Okay.
New York, and Great Plains,
Okay.
and then we have Jersey,
Understood up
couple of
here.
Jersey offices. Yeah.
Okay. And it's neat because if anyone's been to Florida, it's so unique how the state is like Texas. You just keep driving and driving and driving.
Mhm.
You go from Tallahassee down to Miami and then up to Jacksonville. It's just so different depending upon what part of the state you're in.
Yes. Yes. Every county is very unique.
Yep.
Even cities within the county is very unique in what they need from us legally and just supporting our communities.
It's a good word for unique. I like that.
Very cool.
I like that word. Brenda, before I let you go, I'm going to focus on the interview here with Victoria, getting to know her. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask Victoria before you jump off?
No, I think we're just thrilled. We have actually worked with your partner, Boca Helping Hands, on a couple other things. There's PGA events down there, and we have worked with the concessions caterer in recovering all of the food left over from the event. So wherever we can find surplus food, we want to keep it local, and we're always looking for new opportunities. So thank you for bringing this opportunity to us to support your local community.
Absolutely. Any way that Chartwell can give back, we're always happy to do so.
That's great. All right, I'll leave you guys.
Thanks, Brenda. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Good. Now I'll work on my tongue twisting tying. No, Brenda and I are best friends. We've been working together, Victoria, believe it or not, since 2013. And it's interesting how she and I met. It was an ad I put in the paper. We had a local paper. I was looking for volunteers, and she came to one of our volunteer meetings, and she came in with gusto. It's like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. I was like, oh my gosh, this lady's coming in here with a lot of fire. And it turns out, we wound up partnering together. Now it's what 13 years later. It's just amazing how things connect. But all that to say, it led us to our relationship with Chartwell, to one of your founding partners, Tom, and then from there we connected with Amanda and Michelle, and they're just so lovely. And now, this year, we're expanding on the food drive from last year, and we're getting a chance to know some of the great team members at Chartwell. So, to segue over to you, Victoria, I'd love to learn growing up what led you to law school, what led you to want to become a lawyer. What was that process like?
Okay, so I grew up in the largest suburb in Miami-Dade County. I guess it's the largest city in Miami-Dade County. Though when I was little, it was called Dade. I grew up in Hialeah. I lived in my grandmother's house, shared a room with my mom until I was in high school. I mean, that was how I grew up. And my second grade teacher, Miss Alameda, told my mom, "Your daughter loves to talk and argue, and she's going to make a great lawyer someday." And that stuck with 7-year-old's me. And so from that moment on, I had my sights set on becoming an attorney. Type of laws didn't come until after I started practicing, but I just knew I was going to be an attorney from the time I was 7, and that was my goal, and I just went for it.
That's amazing. It's at 7 years old. So, you're growing up, when you were going through school, did you find yourself like interested in law, or just it was that one conversation, and then later on you decided I want to become a lawyer, like when you were in college?
No, I think that just that one conversation kind of gave me the goal to achieve. And obviously, you learn along the way on how you
Yep.
achieve that goal.
Yep.
Growing up, there were not a lot of success stories, if you will, coming out of Hialeah.
Yep.
Um, we were the city is depicted on TV as being known for drug
Yep.
trafficking and I there's a show Cold Case, and I distinctly remember one episode where the police officer like lifts up his shirt and is like, "You see this scar? I got it on the mean streets of Hialeah." It's like that's really what the city is known for, and so that's how I grew up. And I just had this goal to be a lawyer, to get out, to do better, to help, to do what I can do. And it was implemented. The seed was implemented at 7 years old.
Amazing. So then you go on to college.
I go on to
Where
college.
did you go to school at?
So I went to the University of Miami for undergrad,
Okay.
but I did do a dual enrollment for high school because finances obviously
Yep.
very important.
Yep.
So I was able to get 2 years of college done. I had my associates before my high school diploma, and so that helped out financially for my family, and I was able to go on and become a lawyer from there.
You're brilliant, Victoria, and I think that's an awesome strategy. I wish that more people knew they could do that. before you take all 4 years in college. In your case, 3 years of law school, 2 years
Right.
for your bachelor's, the two and the associates you got in high school.
Yeah, I did 3 at UM. I wanted that
Oh,
extra year
three.
of fun,
Okay, okay,
you know.
okay. But still, I mean, you were just
Yeah,
like, oh, that's amazing. And then you can go around saying the you, right?
exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Can you see it in the back? I've got some
Ah,
University of Miami stuff there. Little
yes.
helmet, and my
Yeah.
kids did a U for me.
So I don't want to get into like ages, but when I was growing up, 2001, the Miami Hurricanes football team was sensational. They had Ken Dorsey as their quarterback. It was around the time Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Andre Johnson. I mean, Jonathan Vilma, DJ Johnson. They had so many great players. It was like the football team to watch as a kid.
Yeah, Ken was just honored in the Ring of Honor. He was inducted
Really?
this past weekend at homecoming. Yeah, that
So
was exciting.
do you go
Everyone jokes
back?
that I went because of him, that I went to school there because
Oh
I
yeah.
graduated high school in 2002. So everyone's like, "You just went to UM to meet Ken Dorsey." And I was like, "No, I went to UM because I've been a Hurricanes fan all my
Yes.
life. Like
Yes.
that was the school for me. That was just a bonus." Yeah, he was just inducted to the Ring of Honor. What was Saturday?
When was Saturday?
What was Saturday?
Oh
Gosh,
boy, you and I can't remember our dates. We're
I
we're
know.
working too
We're in
much.
trouble.
Oh my gosh, I can't even get my calendar to work. What day was
You
it?
know, you mentioned the positive from COVID. The negative is definitely the days blend
Oh,
together when you work remotely. The
it
8th,
it
November
was
8th.
the 8th. Yeah,
There we
exactly.
go.
The 8th. So that's cool. So you go back for the games and still, 'cause you're so close.
Yeah, I mean, living in Broward County, I can easily go to the Hurricane games. I go to campus. I go to the volleyball games. They're
Awesome.
doing great, our volleyball team. And so
I
baseball
didn't know
every
that.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so in the 90s then, they had Warren Sapp, The Rock was there, DJ Johnson.
Yeah, I've actually met him a
The
couple of
Rock?
times. Yeah, when I was a student there, he came back pretty frequently, and I got to meet him and hang out with him and stuff. Yeah,
That is cool. Is he a nice guy?
he is. He's one of the nicest people that I have ever met.
It's amazing when you see people that have achieved such a level of like success, in his case stardom, who are still down to earth and nice. That is like so neat.
Yeah, I've actually run into him at the gym before,
Oh
and
yeah?
people bother him for autographs, and he's just so polite. You know, I laughed one time, I almost fell off the elliptical because he was working out on the machine in front of me, and some woman asked to like work in with him, like to alternate sets, and he's just like, I'm almost done. It can be all yours. And she's like, Oh, you don't think I can handle the weight that you're doing? He's like, Didn't say that, ma'am. I'm sure you can. Let me just finish this set. And I just thought it was hilarious that she thought she's just gonna work in with
The Rock.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson and his massive weight set that he was doing. Absolutely insane.
What a cool story. That's so neat. So you've actually talked to him before.
Yes, I've spoken to him. I had a teacher when I was at UM, Dr. G, but he used to work with like the WWE somehow, so
Oh,
he
cool.
knew him professionally. And so it was homecoming weekend, and so The Rock came in, and so he stopped into the class to see him, and it happened to be when I was in class with him, so we got to meet him and talk to him and things like that.
That's so neat. That's so neat. What cool stories. And where you're at in Florida, like I said, I've been down there numerous times. It's a really nice area. People are
Yeah,
friendly. It's nice. It's clean, and just the area. They got a lot of great food. We were talking about the Italian restaurant.
yes, yeah.
Vignettos give and I was shocked too when I heard, by the way, that they had closed that one location.
Yeah, when you told me that, that just broke my heart. I
We were
was Team
disappointed.
Weston. Even though I live in Sunrise, I was Team Weston. My husband's Team Plantation. So I guess we'll be going to the Plantation location now.
I guess so. I didn't even know like that was like a brother rivalry, but that restaurant is amazing. Oh, so good. You ever down to
Delicious.
South Florida? You listening? Vignetto's Italian restaurant. I'm Italian. Take it from one Italian to another. That's the place to be. It's really good there.
Yes, yes, it is. I agree. I'm not Italian, but I agree.
Yes, there you go. So that's consensus. All right. So you get through school, and where did you go to law school? Did you go to the U for law school?
No, I went to a very small college in the village of Ada, Ohio. I went to Ohio Northern University. So it was the pharmacy school, the law school, and the Wilson Football Factory in the middle of cornfields.
Oh my gosh. So wait, you are from the South. You're used to
Yes,
it very hot. Ohio is not hot. It's very cold in the winter.
very cold. And when the first snowstorm happened, I filled out my Florida bar application and got that discount for applying my first year of law school.
Amazing. So that must have been such a shock. Like you get up there, oh my God, it's very cold. What was that like going to law school? Was it challenging being far away from home? What was that process like?
I think it was more, the weather was definitely challenging. Um, Florida blood does not do so well
Thick,
in
thin,
snow and ice storms and um so that was challenging. But I think it was also challenging. I mean, I grew up in the largest city in Dade County. This
right.
was a small, very small village. It wasn't even big enough to be called a town by
Wow.
Ohio standards.
Wow.
There was literally the school, which was primarily law school and pharmacy, and the Wilson Football Factory. There was one building that housed kindergarten through 12th grade,
Got
and
it.
no one did anything on Friday nights because everyone was at the football field. I mean,
Huh.
that's just what life was like up there. So it was very different community, different just types of surroundings, and having to get used to that was probably the biggest thing for me.
So, Victoria, let's focus like now and then. So, do you enjoy the way it is now back to in Dade County, or do you like now have a fondness for that too? That smaller feel.
I think I'm definitely a suburb kind of
Okay.
person. I'm not the big city girl. I like when I have to go to the satellite courthouses versus versus the downtown ones. And then the small town life is just too personal for me, where everyone knows everyone and what they need. I like that in the larger areas you do have some protection from that, where not everyone's in everyone's business, if you will.
Yeah, it's like the Cheers sitcom. Everybody knows your name.
Yeah,
So,
it's not good when, stay-at-home mom Jane knows who I am, where I'm from, and what I aspire to be. It
yeah.
was a little bit much for me.
Or even like, hey, what did you eat for breakfast, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, actually,
exactly.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
That would be me. I can't remember. I can't remember what I ate. All right, so you get through law school, and what I guess I want to understand what kind of law you practice. We'll talk a little bit about what law Chartwell, offers, but how do you? And I've always wondered this question: how do you make the determination when you're going through law school what type of law you want to practice? Does it happen after, or do you like pick a specification? Like I want to focus on this track. How does that work?
I think it depends, right? The famous lawyer answer,
Mm,
on each individual and their law school.
got it.
For my law school, there were no tracks,
Okay,
right? So first year, you have to take the set classes that are required by the American Bar Association.
got it.
So that is that. Second and third year, you have a little bit more wiggle room to pick classes that interest you, or to take a variety of classes to see what it is that interests you. And so that's what second and third year is primarily about. And honestly, I came out of law school wanting to do something in like entertainment.
Wow.
And then the big freeze happened. I graduated from law school in 2008. There was a big
A recession, financial
job
crisis.
freeze. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so interviews that I had lined up, things that I had in the works just didn't pan out.
got it.
Um, I thought, well, maybe I'll apply to the state's attorney, public defenders, someone, right? They're always in need. They have
Uh-huh.
high turnaround because it is a low
Stressful.
paying job that people just don't appreciate,
Yep.
everything that goes into it. I had a couple of interviews, not for the divisions that I necessarily wanted, or that I would be comfortable in having a good night's sleep with after. Um,
Gosh.
let me tell you something. The public defenders and the state's attorneys have very difficult jobs because they don't really get to pick their cases, right? They are told what to do and when to do it, kind
Yep.
of thing, and those are not ideal cases,
Would
and
you
it
say
was
you
just
like
not.
a thankless job? A lot of ways. Yeah.
I would say they probably have a thankless job. Yeah, I mean, for the public defenders, especially the violent crimes against children
Oh
division,
gosh.
I could not do that. So,
Wow.
for the people who can, I guess it is a necessity. So it's good that there are people who can do it. That is not for me. And so with that, I just lucked out. I went to lunch with one of my old professors at UM, and Unfortunately, someone who was scheduled to teach the sports law class had a heart attack.
Oh,
Got word while I was at lunch with my professor, and she's like, "You just graduated from law school. You can teach the class, right?"
ah,
And so it kind of just fell into my lap. And I taught one night a week there. And then I got a job in house for a sports drink and dietary supplement company. And so that's what I did for my first 5 years of practice. I was in house and did one night a week at UM.
so you did in-house, you were the legal counsel for this
Yes.
energy drink, and you were teaching.
Yes.
And what was that experience like? Did you enjoy it? Was it challenging?
Which one, the teaching or the
Well,
in
both, I
house?
guess. I mean,
Yeah.
both. I mean, I'm sure they both have their own set of
Yeah.
circumstances. Yeah.
Teaching was fun. I liked being at the U. I liked giving back to my school.
Green and
Staying
orange.
there, yeah. Um, and it was fun and exciting seeing the next group of kids.
Yeah.
Kids, they're all adults, but kids coming up and,
Get it.
and through the system and I've had a couple of students that went on to law school and they became lawyers and they've kept in touch with me, which is really nice. And then in-house was, I think it was a great way for me to learn how to practice law
Yep.
and only have one client.
Hmm.
So I really got to know my client, the ins, the outs, how we responded to discovery, how we handled matters, contracts, cases, trademarks. And it was, I think, better for me because it allowed me to focus on learning the procedure and learning the law without also have to worry about learning different clients and different internal business practices of those clients. Then once that I learned what I needed to do, I started firm life. I wanted to become a partner at a firm, and I'm now here. Gosh, fast forward how many years? 12 years later,
Hmm.
and I'm at Chartwell and I'm a partner in our Deerfield office.
I want to dive into the partner journey, but just like let's put a bow around this.
Okay.
We'll do a green and orange bow for you, okay? So, to for the in-house, did you have a mentor there, or did you literally have to teach yourself everything?
So we had general counsel.
Hmm.
Um, and when I first started, I had general counsel that had both trademark experience and litigation experience. But only a few months after I started, we got new general counsel, and she was primarily trademark and contracts and that type of law. No litigation experience, but we did have outside counsel on 2 or 3 cases, and so they really acted as mentors for me to
Got it.
teach me the ropes. And we had our cases as examples because I was the liaison between, the two outside counsel and the company. Everything went through me for litigation.
Got it. So that gave you an opportunity to kind of observe, ask questions, and learn. That makes sense. What a good experience. Really kind of get you exposed to a lot of different challenging circumstances.
Yeah, a lot of people go from firm life to in-house because they're like, oh, I no longer have to enter hourly billing and I no longer have to do that. And that's just more relaxing for me so I can practice law. Where I think it's beneficial to go in-house to firm life because, like I said, I was able to learn how to practice law
Mm.
without focusing on one client, which I think benefited the client and later on has now benefited my clients now that I'm at the firm.
So let's fast forward now to Chartwell.
Yes.
What was the journey to become a partner like? I mean, that is like the mecca. I become an attorney. I've watched Suits. I love Suits, and it talks about like their journey to partnership. What is
Yeah.
it like to actually do it in real life?
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I do not think my path was necessarily the path for everyone because everyone has their story. But when I was named partner, we were at a attorney meeting, and one of the founders of our firm, Mike Diamond, he was telling everyone like, these are the people that have been promoted to partner. And as he calls each one, he kind of tells the story, as some, giving you some reference as to why this person has been promoted to partner. And for my story, I had twins in October of 2021.
Oh wow.
And he shared the story of how my doctor and my husband had to take my laptop away from me, and my boss, Derek Lloyd, had to have IT cut my access while I was actively in labor trying to complete a medcron and pretrial motions because I knew when I came back from maternity leave, I was going to trial. So that was kind of, I guess, the point for them when it was like clearly her devotion to the firm, to our clients, and to the practice is evidence.
Wow.
And so that was the story that was told
In
for me.
labor, or you're going into labor?
I was technically actively in labor. It wasn't like in the movies where I was bent over
No,
screaming
no,
in
yeah,
pain.
but still.
I was in bed. They had, the twins hooked up to the monitors, and I was just, I gotta finish this motion real quick, kind of thing.
Unbelievable. Your colleagues know this story?
Yes, because Mr. Mike Diamond told it to everyone in February of 2023 when I was promoted to partner on my actual birthday, best birthday ever.
Amazing. Well, for any of those that don't know around the country, they're going to know it now once Brenda and Michelle share the podcast. That is awesome. Wow.
Yeah,
What a story.
I've had associates come up to me since then. Is that really what it takes? And I'm like,
Yes, that's
no, everybody's
it.
different. I think every attorney's goal should be to do your job, to follow the rules,
Yes.
follow court orders, to communicate with your clients to make sure they're aware of what's happening, and to just do your best.
Yeah.
And whatever that means to you, however you have to achieve those things, is what you have to do to achieve those things.
Hmm.
And that's the pathway to success and growth in our industry.
I love that. I'll share a quote with you, and I use it all the time, so people might have heard it. Ernest Hemingway, he used to say that the only person I try to be better than is the person I was yesterday, not someone else.
Yes. Yeah, my boss, Derek Lloyd, he tells me, stop comparing yourself to this person and that person. Just do your best. Because when I told him, I said, I want to be partner here someday. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I asked him, I said, how did this person become partner? How did you become
Right.
partner? And he
Right.
said, I could tell you my story. And that's all it is. It's a story. You have to find your own path to things. You can get the basics, but your story is your story, and you're going to achieve your goals your way.
I think that's so powerful. What would you tell Victoria, like a young attorney that's starting out, or someone in law school that looks at your career, and you're still really young, so you have a long time to practice still, but they look at where you're at and say, wow, she's already a partner at a prestigious law firm. What kind of encouragement would you give to somebody that feels like I can never do that? What would you say to them?
I would say anything is possible, right? You can be anything you want to be. Classic mom answer, right? But I just would tell them, get out of your own head. If you have a goal,
Mm-hmm.
set your goal and learn how to achieve it. Nothing happens overnight. I'm sure there's success stories where something did happen overnight, right? Someone got lucky, they got the magical case or they got the magical client and it propelled them in their career. But that is not the norm. What we see on TV, Elle Woods and Legally Blonde, that's not normal. Watching SVU and the other Law and Orders, people don't usually cry on the stand and you get your gotcha moment. Like that is not what happens. And so as long as you're prepared for reality checks, hard work, and long nights, then anything is possible in this industry.
I love that. Anything is possible. You were mentioning movies, and like I always think of one of my favorites, My Cousin Vinny. That scene where Marissa Tomei's going, my biological clock is ticking, and he says, I got your clock, my case, their life, this, that. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. In law school, I was not a fan of that movie because I was like, that is just not real. And to this day, a lot of things are not real. We don't get that gotcha moment. Marissa Tomei is not getting up there to be an expert in real life
About
that
tire
morning.
marks.
Yeah, that's not how that works. But, there are some good parts to that movie. And I actually use movies like My Cousin Vinny when preparing witnesses, when explaining to law students or undergrads or high school students when I'm, judging mock trial competitions. We use that movie for points of reference on how to do things right, things that are realistic, things that are not. So it's actually one of the better movies. I'll give them that.
I like that. Remember that part in the movie when he says, what do you call those fuzzy things? He says, trees? Yes, that's it. You can say it. Go ahead. When you know it, just feel free to say it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch the movie now. Oh man. All right, so I appreciate you sharing that inspiration because anything truly is possible if we believe it. I think the last piece I want to wrap up with on that, and then we'll kind of dive into Chartwell Law, the kind of law you practice. But what does it mean? And I don't mean like from a financial standpoint, once you achieve success, what does it mean when, like from a validation standpoint, when all that hard work gets recognized and you're like, wow, my peers see me in this really amazing light. What does that mean internally to you? Because it's kind of like confirmation of all your hard work. How does that like sit on your heart?
I don't know if this is probably the answer that most people think, but to me, it means I've achieved a goal and now I need to set a new one.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
feel like if we don't have a goal every day when we wake up in the morning,
Hmm.
we're not going to work to be the best person that we can be.
That's powerful. Say
So,
it
I mean,
one more time. Say
they
it one more
announced me
time.
as partner. And then
Yeah.
that night I was like, great, what's the path to equity partner? How do I do that? I need a 5 to 10 year plan here. And I think everyone needs to continue to set goals. Otherwise you become complacent and, goals help give our life meaning.
Goals help give our life meaning. That's so true. You're inspiring me. I'm getting like so fired up listening to you. This is unbelievable. All right, so tell us a little bit about Chartwell and what kind of law do you practice specifically? What's the firm known for? And I'm going to share the Chartwell page for those that are following on YouTube.
So Chartwell is known, I guess, for a different or a variety of areas, if you will. It started, and granted, I was not here from the start. We've been around for over 20 years, and I have not been practicing law that long. But my understanding is it started with four guys with workers' comp and the backyard
Hmm.
kind of thing. And it's grown. Florida, where I practice, has a very large general liability practice. Um, that's where our majority of our work in Florida comes from. It's my understanding. We also do first party, like I said, workers' comp, employment, and general liability encompasses a lot of things. We have professional liability, premises liability, trucking. General liability is a very large group. And so that's what I do. I represent larger companies. Half of my work is personal injury type of defense, and the other half is actually construction defect
Okay.
defense. And then I get the hybrid cases. Every now and then we'll have construction defects that lead to personal injuries, and those usually land on my desk as well. And so that's my area.
Expertise.
Yeah, that's my area. Um, and that can include, I mean, I have cases involving slip and falls, car accidents, product malfunctions.
I was just going to say, what's
The
like
run
an
the gamut.
example? Because I'm not an attorney. What is an example of that? Sorry.
No, it's fine. So, like I said, slip and falls. Someone slips and falls somewhere, and they sue the property owner.
Got it.
Car accidents, construction defects. So I had a case where a piece of ceiling fell on a 10-month-old.
Oh my gosh.
So that would be like a hybrid case.
Got it.
Construction defect that led to an injury.
Injury.
Construction worker falls down an elevator shaft, now missing part of their brain.
Oh my
Another
Lord.
one of my cases in the past. So those are the kind of cases that I handle. And as a female attorney, I do get a lot of the kid cases.
Hmm.
So that also comes down the road.
Did you ever anticipate you'd be practicing this kind of law once you became an attorney? You were in house, and then you're saying, "Oh, now I'm going to go for a partner route." Did you think you'd do this kind of law?
So when I was in house, a lot of my litigation work was product liability.
Mm.
And so then when I left the company and I went to join the firm, half of my work was product liability and then professional responsibility.
Okay.
So that, representing attorneys and legal malpractice, doctors and medical malpractice, engineers, architects, anyone who requires a license in Florida. If they get sued, that was who I was representing, in addition to the product liability, you know, the Stanley Black and Decker sliding glass doors, things like that. And then I left that firm. I came to Chartwell. Um, to not do med mal anymore. once you have a child, it's a little difficult. Some of the cases become a little bit difficult. So I interviewed with Chartwell. I told them I really didn't want to practice medical malpractice anymore. They said that's fine. I had construction experience, I had premises and product experience, and that was what they were looking for. And so they hired me right on the spot, and it's been a perfect relationship since, and it was really one of the best decisions I made for my family to join Chartwell.
That's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the initiative that Chartwell has. It's amazing how vast the organization has grown over 20 years to be in so many states. And there's a special initiative called Chartwell Cares.
Yes.
And I'm sure you want to talk a little bit about that. Why is giving back so important to you, Victoria? Why is this such an important thing to you?
So I'll start by saying a lot of companies, when they're hiring people, they like to say they're family oriented and they're, this great company to work for. And a lot of people say that and they don't really back it up.
Hmm.
Chartwell backs it up. It's been the first company that I've worked for that really backed it up. They are very family oriented. I had two founders come down within my first year of joining the firm. They came down from Pennsylvania and New York just to meet me, meet my family. I have pictures of one of the founding partners, or as I call them, founding fathers,
I like that.
down with my then 10-month-olds, carrying her around an equity partner's house at a party and getting to know her. And we do March for Babies every year, and he donates to her campaign every year. And I mean, this firm really is family forward. They obviously respect their clients, and we respect deadlines and judicial orders and rules and our cases and our workload. But at the end of the day, family does come first, and they're very caring of their employees and what the employees need. And then that extends to the community. So we are all about trying to find what our community needs from us and how we can help our community. And that's where Chartwell Cares comes in. Since I've been here, I know every year, and I know they did it before I was here. I doubt it started magically when I joined, but I can attest to every year that I've been here, even through COVID, there are multiple organizations that donations are made to. Holiday gifts are donations and named, in lieu of sending out bottles of wine and things like that, we make donations. Um, and let our clients know, and we help out. Like, we do our food fundraising, we do beach cleanups, we do 5Ks for various charities around the nation depending on your office, and we have a liaison in each office that works with the Chartwell Cares team and works to get our community what they need.
Amazing. And personally, this is really important. It's part of your, I guess, ethos, would you say? You're such a hard worker, disciplined, but giving back and helping people is important to you on a personal level?
Absolutely. So my mom was a dietitian
Okay.
at Jackson Memorial Hospital down here in South Florida. And she taught me from a very early age about giving back. Like, every March for Dimes
Mm.
event, I was there volunteering. I'd volunteer, in middle school and high school at the hospital. Once I was old enough to volunteer at Camilla's house, the soup kitchen, and the homeless shelter. When I was at I did work study with the law school, and one of their deans, for the Dean of Disability, she also ran the Pro Bono Hope, helping others through pro bono efforts organization. So I worked a lot with them, giving back to the community, and that's just how I was raised. Every November, for as long as I can remember, I've been involved in some sort of canned food drive. Every December, it's food or toys. I learned growing up that everyone donates toys in December to the hospitals and the shelters, and they have to ration and store them, and people
Mm.
don't donate throughout the year.
Mm.
And so I learned we do like a Christmas in July, or for food banks, we try to do stuff around the holidays, like the spring holidays, in the summer when people don't think to donate, when kids are home and they're not getting their breakfast and their lunch at school. That's when they really need the help. And so it's been through I'm 41 years old here. I've learned that there's so much that people need and there's so much that we can do. And it's not just money, it's also time and energy that everyone can contribute to just helping people who maybe need just a little bit of assistance. And they don't always need it, but sometimes people fall on hard times and they could use a little help here and there. And as long as you have time and money, there shouldn't be a reason why you don't want to help others that need.
Extending that grace and compassion. It's hard to when you see it, like the suffering, Victoria, it's hard to not do something once you start helping. It's like, oh my gosh, there's just so much around me. How can I do something to help?
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine helping, right? Whether you volunteer for whatever reason, you're a high school student and you're required to volunteer, right? To graduate or to get into college. And you get there, and I don't know anyone personally. I'm sure there are people out there, but the people that I know personally who have done their volunteer work as a requirement, they're the kind of people that stay and they continue to volunteer beyond their required hours because it's rewarding. One, you feel good
Mm-hmm.
for helping someone, and the people you're helping, or even the animals that you're helping, like they deserve it. They deserve basic necessities.
Yep.
And it's a great relationship that you build, whether direct or indirect through organizations. So,
Beautiful. And that's a perfect segue. I think you teed it up perfectly. Let's talk a little bit about the organization that you're going to be working with. We discussed at a high level the work that F4, our charity, does. We are primarily here to help provide education. We create awareness around hunger and food insecurity. We partner with organizations to help their teams throughout the country, in your case, or it could be local or regionally, work with a local food bank or food pantry or a shelter that could receive not only food, but hopefully be the recipient of a relationship. You mentioned time, you mentioned resources, you mentioned money. There's many ways to help. We always think of in terms of we're doing a food drive, we're collecting food to benefit the food bank or the food pantry, or we're donating money that they can use to buy food. But the truth is, as you mentioned, people need help all year long. These food banks and food pantries and shelters, they are primarily volunteer run. Some of them have paid staff, but they're primarily volunteer run. They need help all year to sort the food that comes in, or to pick food from the gardens, or to prepare meals, or to transport food from point A to point B. So what we're hoping is as we build awareness internally through Chartwell Cares is that team members will say, I want to be part of this difference, not just for November during our food drive, collecting food, competing with the other offices, but I want to help out that local food bank or food pantry that the Chartwell office is working with. In this case, Boca Helping Hands. Do you want to talk at all about the work with Boca Helping Hands?
so I know we directly did the food drive and the raising of money last year
Yep.
out of the Deerfield office with Boca Helping Hands. And then I know, I think it was because of COVID in 2020, we just did the monetary donations.
Yep.
And that went to Boca Helping Hands as well. Last year and this year, I've kind of been the office liaison, so I've been a little more hands on with the charity and the work. And our office has grown. We have had the opportunity to grow. We've had client support that has allowed that. And our hires from this year are just absolutely exceptional. They've already contributed. They're very excited. I have a volunteer that wants to go and do weekly drop offs from the collections that we've been able to have in the office. And so we have a great group of people. Helping Hands is a great organization. They really do facilitate a lot of help and assistance throughout not only Palm Beach, but also in Broward County. Boca is right on the border of Palm Beach and Broward. So they are very instrumental in helping both counties. And it is a little bit of an area, right? So right above Boca is Delray. They have a little bit of need, certain specific needs in that area. And then in Broward, there's also areas that have very specific needs that they assist with as well. And so we are excited to work with them now for multiple years and to continue that support. A lot of our partners and our attorneys in the Deerfield office actually live in Boca. And so it's very meaningful to them to be able to help out their community directly and drive right down the street, help out. They have children that are in middle school and high school that they're taking in to volunteer. And so it really has become part of the Chartwell family, if you will, here in Deerfield.
I love that. And, we're doing this national initiative, this food drive with F4, but it's so localized. So your partnerships and your relationships are all local to you and to your community, which is so special. A couple things about Boca Helping Hands, and for those that are listening via Spotify or iTunes, they've been around since 1945. So a pretty long, term track record. Their mission and their vision. So their vision, they will grow in their role as a trusted community resource, equipping more individuals and families to achieve financial sustainability and overall well-being. And the mission, we always think of the mission, it follows the vision. The mission is how you're tactically executing your vision, which is more strategic. The mission, Boca Helping Hands provides food, job training, access to healthcare, and financial assistance to help individuals and families improve their quality of life and build financial stability. So there's just so much that goes into this, and what's neat is they're not just, and not saying that it's not good to just provide food, because it is, because people need to eat, but they're kind of going a step even further, with job training, providing access to healthcare, which is so important, right? And then obviously financial assistance. So they're serving multiple needs. So you're helping to provide them with that food need, but it's neat that you're working with an organization that is so invested in their community. And I read here, yes, they serve 35,000 clients annually, and they have over 300 volunteers. And it looks like they distributed over 112,000 pantry bags. So this is just an amazing organization.
Yeah, and they talk about on their website, obviously Boca, because they're Boca Helping Hands, in Boynton Beach and Palm Beach, but yeah, they do trickle down a little bit. Like I said, Boca is on the Palm Beach Broward line, so they help their community, and it's not like you go in and they ask for your driver's license to prove where you live. If you need help, they're going to help you, and that is what is very, I don't want to say special. I think a lot of organizations do that, but it's
Yep.
what's so great about this organization. It's not about who you are, where you live, where you're from. If you need help, it's a group of people who want to help people.
I love that. And the volunteer opportunities, as we were talking about here in our discussion, there's so much here. So you can sign up to volunteer. Not every pantry and shelter or organization has these opportunities, but they do, which is great. Looks like Nicole's the contact there, and finding out ways to help not just during this great food drive that we're doing at Chartwell, but throughout the year. Hopefully, other Chartwell offices will take advantage of that, and hopefully, other organizations that are listening to our podcast will reach out to their local food bank and pantry and just help out. Maybe it's one day a month, or maybe it's one day a quarter or a couple hours, but go help out, sort some food. Think of it, food comes in with these food drives, it needs to be sorted. What food
Yeah.
is past its sell by date, what food is supposed to be in this category, the proteins and the vegetables, all of that needs to be sorted by volunteers,
Sorted, packaged,
packaged.
so that when we have, people, whether it's drive through or
Yep.
walk up, they have to be able to just hand them a bag and keep it moving so that they can help as many people as possible. They need assistance on date of events. Planning, preparation, execution, and then very, very next day or very next minute, start planning, preparation, and execution for the next event. I mean, it's all a necessity, and
And
they
they
handle
also
it.
100%, and they also have things that are more strategic too. So if there are people listening, these nonprofits all have committees, they all have advisory boards. So there are ways that you can lend some of your expertise philanthropically beyond just volunteering on a soup line or sorting packages. You can actually maybe volunteer more strategically too with these organizations, because they definitely need the help.
Right. And if I would say, if there is an organization that someone directs you to, say Boca's Helping Hands, right? And maybe they don't offer, and since I'm a lawyer, we'll go down that route,
Yeah.
right? Maybe Boca Helping Hands doesn't offer pro bono work.
Hmm.
But if they know you and they have someone coming in, a mom, right, who's trying to get away from an abusive relationship and has a young child, and
Hmm.
they just need some guidance, they're going to put them in contact with me. And maybe I don't do that type of law, but I can guarantee I'm going to give them 5 names of people who do.
Yep.
And we're going to try to get them the help that they need, because that's what the community is about. And so making the contacts by me dropping off food, helping organize, whatever it is, donating money, it allows them to contact me if they come across someone who needs legal help, and then I can talk to them, see if I can help them or direct them to someone who can. And I think that's also a way that Chartwell contributes. I know Jeremy, who's in the office next door, we had someone just walk into our office terrified, needing an immigration attorney.
Mm.
And I happened to, I was the one that intercepted her when I was coming back from the restroom. And I said, just wait here. And I went and got Jeremy. And I'm like, Jeremy, I have someone who really needs just a referral, a reference. And I know you're someone who can do that for her. And he went out, he spoke with her, he got her a reference. And she actually reached out thanking us because we got her a lawyer that could help her. So it's just little things like that. And by doing volunteer work, philanthropic efforts, you put yourself into the network, you put yourself into the community, and it allows you to help more people besides just donating food. It's so much more.
I love that. What maybe speak to the personal level of fulfillment or satisfaction that you get when you're able to help somebody in such an impactful way.
So I was just raised, that's what you do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We did not have a lot of money
Mhm.
growing up. I told you I lived with my grandmother. I shared a room with my mom. My mom worked in the hospital. She, would deliver flowers for extra money on the weekends and things like that. You have to do what you have to do.
Yep.
Um,
That's
and
amazing.
so I was just always taught, whatever you have to give, whether it's your time, your money, your energy, your space, that's what you do. Um, and so that's just how I was raised. And I think it's helped me be a well-rounded person. It's taught me to be someone that can contribute, someone that is needed, right? People want and need you if you can bring something to the table,
Yep.
right? So anyone who's looking for, how do I grow as a person? How do I grow in my career? You need to grow as an individual and make yourself available, make yourself needed, make yourself the kind of person that people want around, because you bring something to the table. And compassion and time and energy, that's priceless. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a quarter to give someone, but if you can give them an hour of your time once a month at, a non-for-profit, that's tremendous. So I think that helps you grow as a person. It's helped me grow as a person. It's helped me become, hopefully, a good role model for my kids and for young attorneys or law students, college students, and high school students that I interact with regularly.
Your story is really powerful. And I appreciate you being so vulnerable and sharing, coming from the upbringing you had, and then building yourself into this super successful attorney. And now you have never lost sight of the importance of giving back, and you're championing this Chartwell Cares initiative in your community. I think it's really, there's just so much here, just from our conversation, that I hope other people listen to and say, I can make a difference and I can help out too. I mean, that's what this is all about. We want people, don't worry about how big or small your impact is. Just get started. Just do something. The first step, bring in your first canned good, and then reach out and say, how can I volunteer?
And I think it's contagious,
Yes.
right? So when you do something positive, when you help someone, the people around you want to help someone.
Mm.
And it's also infectious in that once you do it, you get that high
Yeah.
of just doing something that someone needed and you were able to help. And it gives you that little sense of pride that you were able to do something for someone else. And then it kind of motivates you to see, how else can I help? So it just continues to build on. And you just got to do that first step, bring in a canned good, donate $1, find an hour of your time on a weekend. It really does make a difference.
And don't you think, Victoria, that it also leads to a greater sense of gratitude for what you have in your own life? That everything just is amplified. I appreciate this much more, that I have my health and I have a job and I have a family. Everything just takes on a greater level of just meaning, don't you think?
It does, meaning and appreciation. I donated recently, Broward County Public Schools. That's where my kids go. They have Broward County Public School pantry for kids and families that have been identified through the school system that need a little extra help. And it has stuff, food, but it also has socks, you
Wow.
know, and for example, just last December, instead of doing a toy drive, the school decided to do a sock drive.
Oh,
And I remember
wow.
I reached out to the liaison for our school and I was like, this is interesting. I've never really socks. And he explained to me that there are so many children who come to school without socks, with
Wow.
holes in their shoes, and just so I
Heartbreaking.
went to Target and I can tell you how many hundreds of pairs of socks, and I brought them back to the office and put them in the bin. And he was like, wow, that's a lot. And I said, I have the means to do this. You know, I am very appreciative and I'm very, very fortunate to have the ability to do this. And if buying 100 pairs of socks helps kids go to school comfortably to learn,
My gosh.
if I can do it, I'm going to do it. And that was, you know, that's what I told him. And then this 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, they did their pantry food drive that they do every November, October, November, and they restock the pantry. And you know, I took in full meals, right? I had a bag and I had a complete meal. I did 12 of those, and then I did boxes that just had in, you know, snacks and things beyond Thanksgiving, beyond the holiday meal. And they were just like, why? I said, I already told you last year. I am in a position where I can do this.
Yeah.
And so I want to do this. Not everyone is in the position that I'm in. I recognize that. I was not in that position growing up. And so because I have the ability to do it, I want to do it because it's not right that a child is hungry. It's not right that a child doesn't have shoes and socks. These children didn't ask to be here, right? We have to, in my mind, protect our children and our elderly, our vets that need the extra attention and the extra help because they're not in a position to help themselves. And so that is how I was raised. That is how I live my life. And I encourage my family, my friends, and those around me to do the same.
I hope more people take heed of your message and they are inspired to do the same. It's a beautiful way to live, and I think it's encouraging. It shows you there's a lot of good out there. We don't always hear about it, but I think there's a lot more that's being done that we just it goes under the radar. But you're bringing it to the surface, so I appreciate you as a human being, and also for your generosity. It's awesome.
Thanks. And hopefully we can get more awareness out there and get help to people who need it. And you told me that Ryan
Oh boy.
told me he challenged all of the Chartwell
He
offices
did.
to see who could raise more money, more
Yes.
pounds of food, things of that in this one drive that we're doing. So I'm going
Correct.
to go beyond that drive, right? We all have Thanksgiving drives, we all have holiday food drives. I saw, and I do not remember the creator's name, but I saw on TikTok a few weeks ago where a creator noted that they went to a food bank, a food pantry, and there was a little kid that wanted a birthday cake. And he was like 7 years old and had never had a birthday cake. And it touched this creator so much that they found a way to do birthday boxes, if you will. So it's like you take a tin foil pan, the one that comes with the aluminum, you get a cake mix, a can of soda that replaces the egg, the oil, all of that, frosting with sprinkles, and you put some candles in there. And it is a birthday box so that every kid can have a birthday cake. So we're going to get through Thanksgiving. We're going to get through, you know, December holidays. Everyone's going to donate. We're going to have enough food for people and it's going to be great. But I'm going to challenge for 2026 that I'm doing it for my birthday. I encourage you as a birthday present to yourself to do birthday box donations to your local pantries so that everyone can have a birthday cake in 2026, especially the little kids that have never had any, because everyone deserves a little sweet treat and a surprise and a present, especially on their birthday. So that's my challenge for 2026.
Challenge is laid down. Victoria,
Yeah.
challenges
Take that,
laid
Ryan, in Atlanta. I'm
down.
challenging Atlanta specifically
Oh
for
man,
that one.
Brian and I were talking about it, and it was like, some people that from the outside they call it Hotlanta. We just call it Atlanta. I was like, that's true. I've always heard it as Hotlanta.
Yeah. It's
It's
hot
like
because it's hot there. It's like hotter there than it is in
not
South Florida.
not to them though, not to the people that live there. I went down there and I was like exploding. I said, it's really hot here. He said, no, we're just used to it. I was like, okay,
Yeah, you get used to it. I guess it's
okay.
like when I was in the snow, right? It was freezing cold and I just wanted to
Right.
return home.
Right. I'm from Pennsylvania, so and we do get hot summers, but the winters get colder, and I just like it a little bit colder. But I just think it's so funny talking to different people in different parts of the country and how we all like feel the weather so much differently. Unbelievable.
Well, and the needs become different, right?
Yes.
In
Yes.
Pennsylvania, you're talking about shelter
Uh-huh.
in the winter.
Correct.
And in Atlanta, hot Atlanta, and in South Florida, we're talking about shelter in the summer
Yes.
because it is so hot
Yes.
that people just passing out and they don't have food, they don't have water. Simple water in the summer makes a huge difference down here. So again, hopefully people go beyond Thanksgiving and the holidays and they remember that people need year rounds. That's where the birthday thing comes in.
There you go. The year-round.
Everybody has birthdays year round, so hopefully it reminds them.
I like that. Stay reminded, stay engaged, and keep on caring. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation thoroughly, Victoria. You are an amazing person. I think your
Thank you.
accomplishments are just unbelievable. I'm gonna probably like leave this conversation tonight after we wrap up our recording, and the story I'm gonna come back to is she's getting ready for labor and she's still sending out emails. Like that is dedication to your craft. So that and then your desire just to keep helping people from your childhood on. We can all do something. So don't measure and compare yourself to Victoria or to me or anybody else, but just focus on doing something and try to help us make this world a better place for each other.
Yep. Positivity goes a long way.
Yes, I agree. Well, I am Derek Fiorenza with the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. Today, our guest was Victoria Godwin-Reese of Chartwell Law. She is in their South Florida office, and she is helping us with the annual Chartwell Cares food drive to benefit the community, specifically the Boca Helping Hands organization down there in South Florida. Again, Victoria, thank you for your time today. If you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, please make sure you subscribe and share with your friends and family. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.